Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Hello, and welcome to the Ident Review Extra, the spin-off show that takes a look at one individual ident each episode and gives it the review it deserves. And this time around, we're embarking on a journey through the rhythm and movement idents that represented BBC One between 2002 and 2006. We're heading to the rugby pitch to take part in the Haka. Sports have been a key part of BBC One's lineup since the black and white days of television. Whether you love it or hate it, there's always a huge demand from viewers to be able to watch their favourite sport on the TV, should they not be able to go to a game in person. Rugby is undoubtedly one of the biggest sports we enjoy here in the UK, so when it came time to create idents around the concept of rhythm and movement, the game of rugby has one element that would, in theory, fit perfectly with this remit. So let's take a look at the Haka.
Rivalries don't come much bigger than this. Now on BBC One, Gary Lineker introduces uninterrupted action from the match of the day, live.
Cracking stuff. For those unfamiliar, the Haka originates from Māori culture, being a traditional dance for the indigenous Polynesian people of New Zealand. It utilises your hands, feet, legs, body, voice, and even your tongue and your eyes. If you ever catch New Zealand playing rugby, the All Blacks will perform the dance before every game. Fitting then that where we start camera-wise is on a Māori native, Joe Hutley. He leads the dance while surrounded by several amateur Welsh rugby players, who join him in the Haka. The dance itself I've always found really fascinating to watch. The intensity of the movements and sounds comes across as something truly quite powerful, and that's no exception here. However, this ident isn't without its faults.
Tom Cruise to the rescue now on BBC One Wales, and Mission Impossible includes strobing effects in the opening title sequence.
When it comes to TV idents, I've always been a big believer of synergy between audio and visual, that you can have the greatest looking or most interesting concept for your sequence going, but if the soundtrack used doesn't back it up, then it arguably doesn't reach its full potential. To me, that's exactly what happened here with Haka. Given that the dance itself is so loud and complex and intricate, known to audiences for building up to the start of a rugby game, it's a surprise to hear that the soundtrack doesn't match that. Instead, we get a string arrangement, one which does use the recurring theme heard across the rhythm and movement idents, and in fact sounds more like an upbeat version of the ballet sequence. And as nice as it may sound, I'd argue that it just doesn't fit at all with the Haka concept. I feel the music needed to be louder, more bombastic, more fitting for how general audiences often see the Haka to be performed. You could argue the idyllic Welsh setting warrants a more serene soundscape, but I disagree.
A collection of pottery and ceramics that's just too big. It's gotta go. Cash in the Attic hopes to sell it on for a bob or two in 25 minutes. After Neighbours.
Haka was seen amongst the launch batch in March of 2002 and was sporadically seen over the next few years, appropriately utilised to introduce sport-based programming. However, Haka has the distinction of being one of only two idents from the rhythm and movement set to be removed from broadcast circulation before the set's retirement as a whole. This happened sometime around 2005, and was reportedly down to issues with music licensing. Rather than remove the ident entirely, I would have seen this all the more reason to produce a new score, one that arguably better reflects the Haka and how it's presented. Sadly, when a final montage of rhythm and movement idents was shown in late 2006, Haka was not present among them. 20 years since its debut, Haka remains one of the sequences from this set that rarely gets spoken about, aside from it being removed from the airwaves. Whilst I think the central concept is a striking one that is a great showcase for other cultures on TV, the lack of appropriate music just totally ruins the potential for me. Some will like it as is, which is totally fine of course, but I've always viewed Haka as one of the greatest missed opportunities of the rhythm and movement set, one that with a few tweaks here or there, could have become one of the most recognisable and most popular. And so that brings us to the end of another episode of the Ident Review Extra. If you enjoyed this look back at Haka, then please leave a like, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe to the channel for lots more ident related content. I've been Martyn from AMTV, Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Brittany Fan 1999, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, and Francine Salazar, our AMTV staff members.